And now we will start the fourth and final part of today's conference. This time we will focus more on InfraTech, and we do have two presentations here at the site. The first stage will be delivered by Mr. Lars Sørensen, representing Food and Bio Cluster. He will be speaking about Food and Bio Cluster Denmark and the project Global Foodture, in which Foodpolis is a valued collaboration partner. And he actually traveled all the way from Denmark. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome him with a big round of applause.
Hello, and good evening. In Danish, it will be called God eftermiddag. Dear Foodpolis, thank you for the invitation, and very honored and proud to be here. And also, thank you for the audience and for all the good speakers. I've been amused that they have been all around this very good topic that also I will talk about this afternoon. As is written here at this slide, my name is Lars Sørensen. I'm the CEO of the Danish Food and Bio Cluster, and we are appointed from the Danish government 3 years ago to be the national cluster organization. And as it was said in the presentation, I will give you a short presentation of what we actually do for our members, how we work with innovation, as well as always give a short presentation of the project Global Foodture. Denmark is a very small land. It's a very small country with only 6 million people. But in business, we have several strongholds. We have several competitive advantages. For instance, we have a competitive advantage in life science, producing medicine. We have water technology as a technology advantage as well. Ingredients and enzymes production. In Denmark, we are producing like 14% of the consumption of ingredients and enzymes for the whole world. This also include fermentation and precision fermentation. And green energy is as well a very huge industry in Denmark. For instance, more than 50% of our electricity consumption come from wind turbines in Denmark. But the largest business area we have in Denmark is food and bioeconomy. And we are known for producing high quality product with a high efficiency and in a sustainable way. We are also known for our ability to make innovation. When you look at international reports, analysis, then we are between number 2, 3 in the world making innovation. So innovation is a part of our DNA. Also, we are producing a lot of food product, not only for the 6 million Danes, but for people around the world. In many of our product categories, we have an export share around 70 or 80% of what we produce. So we are very focused on export as well. But it's not only the products, it's not only the food that we export. We seem to have built up a lot of technology around those food products that we produce. We are very strong in the processing industry, export a lot of that. We are very strong in a lot of part of the sectors where we do export a lot of our technology as well as the food. And then in Denmark, we think about ourselves that we are a kind of a green frontrunner. We are focusing a lot on the green transition, and also think that we can change the food industry in a more green direction. There was one of the previous speakers who talked about that we were a food powerhouse, and I like that sentence. We are also aware that we have a challenge in the food industry. we have a challenge with, for instance, the climate. We have a challenge regarding the biodiversity, not only in Denmark, but around the world. In fact, in Denmark, 25% of all greenhouse gas comes from the food and agriculture sector. So we are aware that we are standing a little bit on a burning platform, that we need to change the way that we are producing food in Denmark. But also we see that the food sector is a part of the solution. We would like to make innovation, make new technologies, so we actually can produce in a more green way and not be a part of this greenhouse emission, to go closer to the net zero emission production way. And also in this green transition, besides that we hopefully together can save the world, also we can make business together, developing those new technologies and use them in a more intelligent way. So therefore, we have made this mission for Food and Biocluster Denmark, where we have a lot of focus, we had a lot of emphasis on the need for strengthen the innovation power in the cluster, but also building up stronger partnerships and commercialize new research-based knowledge in companies' product and services. So that's when I wake up every morning, I will think about that's what I have to do today. In our strategy, we have picked out 4 strongholds that we have a specific focus on. One of them is, of course, how to produce sustainable, healthy, and tasty and safety food for a growing world population. That's perhaps the strongest of our stronghold that we have in our strategy. But also we like to provide and develop sustainable biomass production and use it for the application with the highest value. And therefore the latest speaker, I would say also, I agree about breeding. Breeding is a king when you're talking about biomasses, because you can change the taste, you can change the functionality, you can use it in another way if you also think in breeding activities. And then our aim also is to move the cluster and the organization, our members, in a more climate neutrally way and reach the goal from the Paris Agreement. That's a part of our strategy as well. And as well, we have a 4th stronghold as well, that we would like to develop new technologies that can be used to fulfill the 3 other strongholds. Also, we cover the whole value chain from not only from agriculture, but also from agriculture, but also from forest, from the sea. We have a lot of coastline in Denmark, so we also have a big fishery industry. So we're covering all biomasses, and of course thinking in a circular way. So no side stream will be wasted. We have to reuse all the side streams for every part of the production. And for instance, there's a big movement in the moment in Denmark from the consumers to a more plant-based food consumption. And that also asks to build up new value chains. Also, for instance, talking about breeding again, how can we refine the protein? How can we find new breeding applications that can be used? We have innovation activities in all part of this value chain and developing it all the time. Here you have a lot of numbers, and I will not mention all of them, but I do want to mention that we were established 3 years ago, appointed from the government, the Danish government 3 years ago, and today we have 425 members. 400 of them are Danish, 25 are foreigners, and I believe that will grow in the coming years. All the Danish universities are members of our organization, as well as the big companies in the food and bioeconomy industry, small startup companies, public public authorities, as well as investors, etc., etc. So that's our member base, and we, of course, they define our strategy, what we should do, and how we should commercialize our activities. Also, I will mention that we are a part of a big, very huge project portfolio. A lot of funding from the EU funding, but also funding from private companies as well as the Danish state. And because you also mentioned, the previous speaker talked about startup activities, we are running 3 incubator facilities in Denmark. And of course, we are trying to build up the ecosystem, making accelerator programs for the startup in our 3 incubator facilities as well. But that's basically Food and Biocluster Denmark in numbers. So how do we help? What do we actually do? How do, for our member, how do we create innovation? The way we are thinking is that you must be curious if you want to make innovation. You must looking for new ideas. Christine just talked about, she went to France and had a good idea. So how do we make inspiration to companies that want to make innovation? We're thinking about that all the time. We're making conferences, we are making events, we are making activities that inspire our members to make innovation. When they have been inspired, then hopefully they will join some of our network. We have like 15 network where our companies can ask to be member, and they will join those network and, for instance, work with green protein or sustainable packaging or something else, other subjects, and they can discuss it in a kind of a closed room together with scientists, together with other companies in this industry. And they are very good at sharing knowledge to help each other to build up new activities. Then, of course, sometimes we build up projects in collaboration between members, and sometimes we take, like, it could be like a Canadian company that needed to find a new processing technology in Denmark. We were trying to match those companies and bring them together. And also we are funded in a lot of projects regarding network activities and collaboration activities. And then, not least but not at last, but not at least, that's the way I should say it, we have this one-to-one activities, because all our members is core members for us, and we want to make innovations for each member, and each member we like to make business plans. We help them to find investors. We help them also to find the right scientists if they have a specific problem. So that's our way of thinking, and we would like to, to increase the engagement and to end down here. If they had an idea, it should be a product in the end. Also, we are involved in a lot of international projects. Some of them are very good, and we are very proud of them. And this one is actually one of them. We have made this project Global Foodture together with, it's funded from the EU, and we have a focus on how we can increase innovation by collaboration in this project. It has started between some of the strongest clusters for food and bioeconomy in Europe, and we have started this project up and had some finance from funding from the EU funding system. But also we would like to integrate with the Asian companies. So we have found 4 very strong Asian cluster organizations that we do want to work closer together with. And I'm very happy that Foodpolis is one of them. My staff at home, they say you're wonderful to work together with. We are developing very good things together, and hopefully also this is only a starting point to something else. The overall goal for this project, Global Foodture, is that we of course, I mentioned that already, that we are going to develop innovation capacity, but we have picked out some themes that will be the central themes for the innovation and where we share knowledge. And obviously, it's not only scientists that meet here, it's basically most SMEs that meet, and they will meet on webinars, they will meet on the internet and discuss those subjects and change ideas, and also helping each other to build up new commercial aspects. Last year, in November, Mr. Kim was in Denmark together with a delegation from Foodpolis, and there we signed a memorandum of understanding for this project, Global Foodture, but also, to build up our relation in the future and to exchange ideas. And in Denmark, in Food and Biocluster Denmark, we see a lot of opportunities that we would like to develop in the future, in the coming years. One of the ideas that we do have, that also we would like to invite Foodpolis to participate in, is that we are this autumn building up a food and global summit, where we go a little step further than sharing knowledge, where we also talk about how do we actually share and solve some of our common challenges together, and build up perhaps projects together, because wherever cluster I go to around the world, they talk about difficulties with food production. They talk about how to use robots. They talk about how to use artificial intelligence. Also, they talk about how should we bring down the what's the English word for that? For the climate changes, how to bring down the gas emission. And we have some of the same challenges all around the world, and we would like to develop solution for that together with you, together with other clusters around the world. So actually we like to invite the cluster organization and some of the stakeholders to join this global summit that we will arrange in September this year, where we'll discuss different areas and building the focus on those 4 topics, that where we would like to create new ideas, how we could share and develop new solutions for those challenges together for the participators in this Global Summit 2023. So my wish is that we perhaps in this Global Food and Summit, or in another project, we can work together more in the future, and join the global movement for more green production in the world, and to make innovation in the food and bio sector, so we can create new jobs, we can create more sustainable food production, and yeah, that's what's my word, and thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sørensen, for that case of food tour of food and bio, establishing sustainable food, and of course, developing production system as well. Thank you, and ladies and gentlemen, this will be our last presentation for the day. It's time to welcome Mr. Youn Project Manager from SKTelecom, and today he'll be sharing his words on private 5G network-based services for food factories. Let's welcome him with a big hand.
Hello everyone. This is the very last session, and it was supposed to end 5:05. I may take more time. I'm not sure. I may take more time. 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 I But anyway, I would like to introduce myself first. I'm working for SK. And it's a telecommunication company that is providing 5G network. And recently, 5G can be utilized in other areas. This is not just about Korea. This is actually a global paradigm shift of 5G network. So I would like to take this time to introduce some of that to you. So what I would like to tell you today is about customized 5G network. So before we had 5G, there was 4G and LTE. And LTE is an acronym. It stands for long-term evolution. And when we had LTE for the first time, our focus was that it could go on for a long time. So we created some standard. And we had this 10-year standard, but with the advent of 5G, there's less 4G used, and 30 million people are now users of 5G. So this is truly an era of 5G. But after 4G, we had 5G. It seems like a small update from 4G, but 5G is totally different from LTE. It has totally different functions. So users may feel that LTE and 5G is not that different. But when you look at the technology itself, 5G provides 3 features that could not be realized in LTE system. It's based on B2B and factory targeting standard. We now talk about 6G, but from 4G to 5G, B2C was actually 4G, and now B2B represents a 5G network. And we use customized 5G this term. This is meaningful because in the past, 5G service could be provided only by telecommunication company, but with the customized network, if you want, you can create 5G network just like Wi-Fi in your building or in your factory. So the government allocated this frequency. So smartphone uses 3.5 giga network, but there's also non-public network and private 5G and local 5G, but they are all the same term. It means the same as customized 5G. It means a private 5G network that you can create for your own space. And each country has allocated frequency. So here you see Korea, US, Europe, and Japan. So like I said, everyone has come up with relevant policies to support 5G network. And at the end of 2022, Korean government allocated the frequency for customized 5G network. Customized 5G network market in Korea is projected to be greater than B2C market when 2030 arrives. So you may think that I know this term, private 5G, but this term will become even more popular in the future. So pay attention to this. This is a great technology where you can create your own network for your own space. So private customized 5G can be used for manufacturing factories, logistical factories, and anywhere B2B businesses. And this 5G network, previously for B2C, we had to use trillion Korean won fee had to be paid. But for private 5G network, you only have to pay. You have to pay, of course, it's not free, but it's really cheap compared to the previous network because it's only for your own space. Naver launched the network and they actually received this network and frequency and they have to pay, but it's really low. The fee is quite cheap compared to the previous network. And I said that 5G network has three big features. One of them is it is ultra low in latency. In factories, AMR and robotics are introduced to a greater extent, but because these are mobile ones, they require wireless technology, wireless network. We use Wi-Fi network, but 5G is the only network that can be applied to the whole area of the factory. We can use Wi-Fi, but you need to install 10 units of Wi-Fi for this for the area that is as big as our conference room. But for factory, you will need like 100, 200 units. But 5G network, it works like a LAN cable that is not wired. So there is industrial LAN cable, and Wi-Fi is there to be used. So inside a factory, if you want to build a wireless network, you can use a customized 5G network. Of course, it is expensive compared to Wi-Fi cost, but the cost of the unit has decreased by 1/5 compared to last year's cost. And IT companies globally are developing and sharing open source platforms, so the market is growing and changing. So when you install robots and AMRs in your factory, the best option for you is to use customized 5G network. And another thing that I wanted to tell you, because you use the variety bandwidth, so you can use this whole bandwidth, you can easily and quickly send data. And we also use machine vision. So machine vision creates a lot of heavy data, and by using this 5G network, you can send this heavy data quickly. And a lot of devices can be linked at the same time by using this network. So in this space, like by using 20 units of Wi-Fi, it can actually have a great fluctuation in the bandwidth. But the 5G network, the design began from the cell phone. So it's great for covering the area, and a lot of devices can be linked together in a small area. So these are the three features of the network, and the cables can be removed from the floor of the factory. SKTelecom is providing real-time remote monitoring service based on 5G network. You can see there are wireless cameras here, and we connect these device to 5G network, and you can see through these cameras and network how things are going on the floor, and you can also see the routes. And this is a pocket mini camera, so here you see the camera. You can put this camera in your pocket, and this camera captures images and videos, and it can be sent, and which can be sent through the network. I know that a lot of CCTV cameras were used, but they are wired cameras and they are expensive. But by using our IT technology, we provide less expensive and better product. I'm not here to sell this product, but like I said, we can also connect robots to the system through the network. And I'm going to show you this video clip. So these are the robots installed in the Foodpolis. Not sure if I can show you the clip. So you see the robot arm, and when there are boxes loaded, and the robot arm can load these boxes on the pallets. So the robot arm can capture the image using the camera, and AI is used. And when the boxes are loaded, then there's an instruction message to the robot. And this system is entirely based on 5G network. And SKTelecom did this. I was in charge of this project, and this was completed by January this year. Because a lot of devices can be connected, sensors can be connected and linked, so real-time management of the factory floor is possible. And 5 years ago, I went to automobile sector explaining why 5G network is good for them. But last year, in Singapore, Hyundai Automobile created an innovation center, and there they are creating wireless products, and they applied 5G network there in Singapore. So this image shows you that. So last year I went to the automobile sector, and this year I'm here in front of food experts explaining why 5G is great for you. So 3 years ago until 2025, we have this project going on, 5G-based food factory. This is funded by the government of Korea. Mostly it's about producing kimchi. So when weighing the kimchi, we use machine vision technology to measure the weight of the kimchi, and robots can pack the kimchi product as well. You see kimchi contains a lot of liquid, so it's very difficult to pack kimchi automatically. So we use a gripper, capture the kimchi, and measure the weight of kimchi product. And there are a lot of challenges, but it's ongoing, it's in progress. And we use this machine vision technology and capture the image of kimchi. And by capturing the image, AI technology is used to predict the weight of kimchi. So by 2025, I'm sure we can get some meaningful outcome out of this project. Okay, this is 5:15. Thank you. I'm on time.
Thank you very much for that presentation. So he shared his knowledge and insight on how robotic logistics can reduce the burden of human labor and also increase productivity in the industry of food. And now we'd like to open up the floor. If you do have some questions, please raise your hand. Yes, ma'am.
Hello. I am manufacturing functional food. I am Kang Da-hye, researcher of Natural Way. I want to ask Mr. Sørensen, thank you for sharing information on Foodture activities in Europe and Asia. And which role do you expect the Foodpolis to play out of all Asian players? Where do you want Foodpolis to focus on in the future?
Yes, it's working. You have a lot of focus in Korea on other products than we have in Denmark. And I hope that some of those products also can be used to increase the innovation in the Danish products. For instance, when we are now shifting a lot from animal production into plant-based food, and you have a lot of technologies that can be, and a lot of knowledge about plant-based food, for instance, from seaweed, that we don't have. So there's a lot of knowledge that I would like to bring to the Danish producers in the future. Also, as I said before, Denmark is only a small land with 6 million people, and we're making a lot of innovation. And we are very much focusing on also the cutting-edge technologies. We would like to develop also the market in Denmark to innovate and develop those kind of technology together with fund companies. We have a tradition of doing that, and but also I can see in the figures that Korea is not that high on the list of who we are collaborate with. So I see that there could be a collaboration between Korean companies, universities, Danish companies, vice versa, to develop new technologies together as a win-win situation for both partners. And you do have some competitive advantage, or you have some knowledge that we don't have in Denmark, for instance, about some of those parts from seaweed, and also in the robot and artificial intelligence industry. I think you are ahead of us in that perspective. So all about innovation is to learn from each other and share the right knowledge, so both of you can win on the collaboration.
Thank you very much. Due to limited time, I think we can have one more. Yes, please.
Hi, I have a question for Professor Mr. Youn Jong-pil. I'm Professor Kim from Jeonbuk University. You've talked about how 5G network could be applied to our real life, especially in the food industry. You mentioned about robot arms in Foodpolis and kimchi factory. That was a surprise to me. So in the future, do you have any plan it could be processing area or production area? In which area do you expect to expand AI in the future? So in 2022, we worked with a company that controls robotic arms, so we invested our money there. And in terms of projects, there's kimchi factory project we are participating in, and other than that, we are working with livestock factory for deboning process. So there are such projects going on. And in the future, because this is food industry cluster, I know that there are a lot of food companies around. So individual company can come together so they can share their 5G network instead of using 5G network individually. I thought that would be a great direction. But it requires a lot of infrastructure installation. It takes a lot of money and time, so it will be step-by-step
Thank you very much.
improvement.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big hand once again to two presenters. Thank you. distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of this 13th Foodpolis International Conference. Once again, thank you to everyone who are joining us today until the very last moment of our journey, both online and offline, despite your busy schedule. I hope you had a meaningful time with us today. 네, 여러분 이것으로 2023년 제13회 국가식품클러스터 국제컨퍼런스 모든 순서를 마무리하겠습니다. 바쁘신 일정에도 불구하고 짧지 않은 시간이었습니다. 긴 시간 동안 현장에 배석해주신 모든 참석자 여러분, 또 온라인 시청자 여러분 진심으로 고맙습니다. 저희는 내년에도 더욱더 유익하고 실질적인 내용으로 다시 인사를 드리겠습니다. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll meet all of you both online and offline next year as well. This has been Jessica Singh-Lee, and please make a safe journey back to your home. 여러분 안녕히 또 조심히 돌아가십시오. 고맙습니다.